AEW pay-per-views, their big shows, are on another level that WWE just cannot match. This is why I feel that way. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to Screw the Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick here. Thanks for joining me this Monday night. Special Monday drop for you. I figured for those of you who tune into my channel all the time, I mentioned that I changed my schedule to Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, but I think what I'm going to do additionally with the change of schedule is for every pay-per-view, I'm going to upload the day after. This was a Sunday pay-per-view, so I'm uploading to you today on Monday. For the pay-per-views that will be on Saturdays, I will do special videos on Sundays covering what happened. I just couldn't wait until Tuesday to drop this video for you guys, so I hope you are pleasantly surprised. Now on to my take. Why do I feel like AEW does pay-per-views, their bigger shows, on another level that WWE just cannot reach anymore? Well, first I'll show you some ratings, and then I'll get into it further, but right up there, you've got the cage match ratings. At the time of this recording anyway, it's at a 9.41. That is even higher than All In Texas from this past summer. It is only at a little over 100 ratings right now, so that is likely to probably drop a little bit, as you will get some ratings that are a little bit lower than the 9s and 10s that it's averaging for the most part right now. There really aren't any votes less than an 8 aside from a few here and there, and you've got nothing below a 7 out of 10 right now. That is superb work by AEW. This was one of their longer pay-per-views. They had, I think, 10 matches on the main card, and even part of the buy-in, actually 0 hour, what they call it now, actually spilled into the start of the show. I like that they do that, because honestly, these pay-per-views are so booked in a good way, almost overbooked, but in the best way possible, because their roster is so fucking deep. That's another point. Not only do I think that AEW is on another level with pay-per-views, they're on another level with their roster. A 9.41, near perfect score. Let's dive into the pay-per-view that we saw this past weekend. Before I get to the full card, let's get on to the only match that I really cared about in the 0 hour was that 21-man Battle Royal. We saw Jungle Jack Perry win and become the new national champ. If you haven't seen it already, Ricochet has quite the crash out that you can find on their socials, AEW socials. Say what you want about Ricochet, but he is so much more entertaining in AEW than he ever was in WWE. Not quite sure where he goes from here, as his national championship reign was kind of short. He didn't really have very many defenses, but putting it on a pillar of AEW, some would say Jack Perry is one of the pillars. Very smart booking, and once again, they are backing my claim that I've had on this channel so many times, that AEW knows how to push their young talent and give them the spotlight. Revolution was one of their biggest pay-per-views of the year. It's one of the 4 OGs. It is undoubtedly one of the biggest shows of the year for them, and they put over a lot of young talent in this pay-per-view. And the main card, look at that thing of beauty. Holy shit, did we get a show. We had a banger, and then another one, and then another one. You get the point. DJ Khaled over here on the mic. They had 10 solid matches. There were only 2 matches on the entire card, the main card, that I thought could have been better, could have maybe even been a main event for a Dynamite or a Collision, but that's really just nitpicking. And I'm going to get those 2 matches out of the way right now. The tag titles, the women's tag titles, I feel like they should have done something a little bit different here. I was thinking that Willow was going to have to sub out potentially, and maybe we would have gotten some fun surprise return or even a debut in the women's division to replace her to help defend the tag titles with Harley. Instead, it was very obvious, for me anyway, that she was not going to walk away with both the TBS and one half of the women's tag titles by the end of the night. There was just no way. She ended up beating Lena Cross on the 0 hour show prior to the main card to retain the TBS belt. So for me, it was very predictable. I was like, they're they're going to lose. But I didn't expect them to lose in pretty quick fashion. It just didn't feel like that level of an AEW pay-per-view match, because the level that their matches are on for their pay-per-views are at such a high level that this just felt like this could have happened maybe on the ending of a Collision, maybe a Collision main event, and we see new tag champs. But again, nitpicking, that was one of only 2 small issues that I had with the entire night. The only other one, and I'll get this out of the way too, was the co-main event. I'm shocked that they had the Dogs versus Cassidy, Darby Allin, and Roderick Strong to be the co-main event, the cool-down match, some would call it. But AEW pay-per-views are so fucking good, there really isn't a cool-down match. You really just have to sacrifice when you have to go take a piss or a shit. WWE, you can go whenever because you're staring at a fucking Titantron every damn time. I don't understand why this was the second to last match. It felt like the only reason why they held out for so long to have this be the second last match prior to it starting, I was like, oh man, are we going to get Jay White? That's the only thing that would really, really make this worthy of being the co-main event. Instead, not only did we not get Jay White, which was disappointing because he did tease his possible return. I know he's done that a few times where he's teased that. But not only that, but the Dogs lost. I feel like they should have went over here, especially with how the match was going. They were just looking dominant. And then they ended up losing at the very end. I know we've got shenanigans that happened. We got Gabe Kidd getting tied up by the ramp. Darby Allin took a nasty spear. Holy crap. And just a crazy spear from Clark Connors. I thought the dude was knocked out. Man, Darby Allin is a tough son of a bitch. But yeah, they came out on top. I would have had them win, and I wouldn't have had the women's tag title match end the way it did, or even just go about the way that it did. That is it. That's the worst of it out of the way. Literally just those 2 tiny things. And honestly, again, very nitpicky, but I gotta be honest on this channel. I will say what worked and what didn't work for me, and those were the only 2 things that didn't work for me. The rest of the card was perfection. This, if you guys haven't seen this before, I haven't done it in a little while. I think I skipped the last 2 pay-per-views. I mainly only do it for the really big ones. Now, it's the cans of whoop-ass rating. A 6 out of 6 is a perfect pack can of whoop-ass rating. That's the best you could get, like a perfect pay-per-view. And then going down from there, 0 out of 6 is just never watching it again, which I've never given out a 0 or a 1 for anything, not even matches. This card is going to get a 5 out of 6. The only reason why it doesn't get a 6 out of 6 cans of whoop-ass is because of those 2 things that I just brought up. But let's go quickly through the rest of the card. My God. You had Bandito and Andrade, I think, was probably on a technical level match of the night. It was either that or Takeshita and Mox. You saw Andrade beat Bandito in a really, really good match. Their entrances were great. The fan engagement was great. Then you saw Moxley successfully defend against Takeshita. Same exact thing. Great crowd engagement. Incredible technical match that went the distance. It was 2 phenomenal matches. Those were my top 2 technical favorite matches. And then probably match of the night, not really more so on a technical level, but just holy shit kind of spot fest in a way, was obviously the main event, which I'll get to in a few minutes actually. I want to touch base on the rest of the card before we go over that. We had the 2 out of 3 falls match, Tekla retaining. That was a solid women's match. That was my favorite women's match of the night. The other one being Toni Storm and Marina Shafir. That was okay. Didn't see Ronda Rousey debuting. That was quite the shock, but came out to a lot of boos. I understand that she is supposed to be booked technically as a heel because she's siding with Marina Shafir. But there's a difference between storyline boos and genuine heat, and I just think the crowd didn't love it. I think she called out wrestling as just being fake and pathetic or whatever she said. I forget how long ago. So kind of weird that we have this moment. I know that those 2 are friends in real life outside of the ring. And if it's just for like a one-off feud where it's Marina and Ronda Rousey versus Toni Storm and Mina, maybe like a tag team match that happens at Dynasty and then she's gone after that, that would be fine. I just hope that Ronda Rousey isn't going to be a staple sort of wrestler that we see weekly going forward on Dynamite and Collision. Other than that, Tony Storm ended up winning. The match itself was solid. Then you had Swerve versus Brody King. Swerve came out on top. Nasty spot on the outside where Swerve hit him with that, I think it was a Tiger Driver, I believe, a reverse Tiger Driver from the back. I can't remember what it was exactly that he hit onto the exposed floor. That was brutal. It's a lot of weight to come down on the upper back and neck area. Swerve comes out on top. That was a great match. I already went over the other matches that I didn't really care for. And then the only other one before I get to the rest of the really, really good matches was the 3-on-3 match. It was very, very shocking. I didn't think that Jet Speed and Mystico were going to win, but they did. And they are new Trios champs. Mystico, not only did he win 1/3 of the Trios belts, he was officially signed to All Elite Wrestling. I loved this moment. I think they should do this more where they had the graphic show up on the screen. So they got a standing ovation for the match when they won the belts. And then a minute later, another ovation for Mystico as he was officially named All Elite. Great moment, shocking moment. I thought Kevin Knight was going to turn heel here when they ended up losing. And I also feel like storyline-wise, I could see something like this happen where the Don Callis family, now they dropped the Trios belts as fast as they got them, really. I think you're going to start to see some sort of internal angst amongst all the Don Callis family members. They're going to maybe start feuding with one another. I don't think it'll be the end of the Don Callis family. I just think that it's going to really shake things up for them. They're going to be rocky for a while. I think Takeshita and Okada will go back to feuding. Look what happened. Takeshita didn't win, and then Fletcher, Okada, and Mark Davis lost the Trios belts. But on to the two most popular matches of the night, I would say. Not on the technical level for either, but best, most popular tag match of the night, hands down, was that opening match. I called it to a T. FTR retained against the Bucks. Really, really good match. Those two teams could wrestle forever, and I would not get sick of it. They are so damn good. And then, like I predicted prior to the show, FTR retains. They jump the Bucks. And then you see Edge and Christian return. Now they go by Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. They are going to be challenging FTR. They have to be the ones to take it off of them. But I feel like if you're going to do that, you got to do it at the biggest stage of them all, at All In. So I'm not quite sure how they can make this feud last until then, because that's still months away. But I don't think you should have the title match happen immediately at Dynasty in April. And I think you should even hold off from doing it at Double or Nothing in May. But regardless, if it happens at one of those two, I would be okay with it, because I do want to see Adam Copeland and Christian Cage as tag champs one last time. And then finally, that main event. Look at that shot right there. MJF besting Adam Page in his own match of his choosing. His match. Literally his match. He was 5-1, I think, all time in Texas Death matches. I think he only lost one prior to this. This was Hangman's match. This is his backyard in a sense. And MJF, not only did he win, he won as clean as you can get in a match like this. No outside interference for help. I really thought that, if you guys remember that moment when he was crawling up the stage and going towards the entrance, I thought somebody was going to come out for sure to help MJF. Maybe a returning Wardlow being heel again, or maybe Holiday or Hammerstone, something like that. But it didn't happen. We had that crazy stage spot where they both fell off and basically got electrocuted. That nasty needle spot through the lip. My God, they just literally almost killed each other. But that shot at the end, very poetic. That is long-term storytelling yet again by AEW. I'm sick and tired of Easton saying that they can't tell stories long-term, because they can. Hangman, last summer at All In, beat Jon Moxley the same way he just lost. Hung up on the ropes. The only difference is that Moxley ended up tapping out. Hangman just essentially passed out and couldn't get up for the 10 count. That is cinema. And what I have to say about the whole pay-per-view, again, 5 out of 6 cans of whip ass. Look at this sign that somebody had up there. It's so damn true. TK, better, greater than TKO. And now some engagement from fans outside of this channel besides myself and Cage Match. More to show you guys. Starting with this. As a WWE fan, this entertained me more than what WWE did in the Triple H era. Tons of likes there. After this show, I'm done with WWE. A lot of likes there. This pay-per-view made WWE irrelevant. More likes there. We'll keep it going. Keep the belt on MJF for as long as possible, genuinely. With the blood on the camera, it's crazy work. Fucking cinema. And I agree with everything there. These comments and the amount of likes that these comments are getting, and these posts were literally posted today. It's not like they sat for hours and hours and hours. I'm sure if you find these posts, there's way more likes on those comments now. The people are speaking the truth. It doesn't matter what E-stands can say, and they'll crawl on this channel. Some of them, I get the comments here and there. They'll crawl on pretty much every other socials they can, posts, what have you, and they are going to say that it was a terrible show, oh, it was too long, oh, that final match was too fucking much, it was sick, it was disgusting, blah, blah, blah. Revolution did something that WWE just cannot match. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I just went over the whole card. I gave you proof from comments. WWE cannot and will not ever top something like this. For as long as they are controlled by TKO and for as long as they are under Triple H and PG, they will not put on a show half as good as that was. And that wasn't even their biggest show of the year. Double or Nothing, I'd say, is probably up there with Revolution as well. But All In is their biggest show of the year. And they're going to be in front of a lot of people again for All In. We'll likely see Will Ospreay end up beating MJF for that title. I think that's what's going to happen now that he retained. I think he keeps the belt until All In. And then ultimately, Will Ospreay may beat him. However, Will Ospreay did challenge Moxley. I don't know if he's going to essentially want to get the belt from him. I think he just wants to fight Moxley and go through him. Maybe you do put the belt on Will Ospreay for All In, his belt, the Continental belt. But then, if anybody's going to go and challenge MJF at All In this summer, it's got to be Darby Allin. I think at some point, Darby Allin will get past the storyline with the dogs and everything, and maybe he's the one that challenges. Who knows? But they are going to make a great choice, and it's going to be a really, really good pay-per-view. WWE, WrestleMania coming up. It's still a little bit away, because it's not even April yet. But it is not going to match what we just saw last night, ladies and gentlemen. It is not going to match Dynasty the same month. I'm sure Dynasty will even be better. Double or Nothing is going to be better. All In for sure is going to be better in SummerSlam. If you're going to compare WWE's biggest show of the summer is SummerSlam. AEW's biggest show of the summer is for sure All In, and arguably the biggest show just period. AEW is going to beat out WWE for every single pay-per-view, PLE, big show, whatever you want to call it. It's never going to change. It's been lights out unanimously since the beginning of AEW. I have not watched not a single AEW pay-per-view that has been worse than WWE's PLE that they put out that same month or the month prior. And that is my truth. And I'm sure a ton of you agree with that. That's all I had in this episode of Screw the Script. Let me know down below your favorite moments and matches from AEW Revolution last night. Let me know if you agree with my claim that AEW just does pay-per-views on another level that WWE just cannot match. As always, this has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.
No filter, I got no